Hey guys, Octavian here coming at you with a new series called Extra Casts. This is where all the shoutcasts I do that are for various communities or tournament events are going to be going up on the channel. This particular one was done for the EU West branch of a community called LolFactions, which does tournament events mainly focused on lore and the like. There'll be a link to their community website in the description if you want to go check them out, and I'll be doing live shoutcasts for them later on. In the future, I will be providing links to those on the channel when I know exact timing. If you want me to be shoutcasting for your tournament, community event, or something of the like, then just shoot me an email. The email will be in the description for you to look at, and I would love to help you out. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the shoutcast. Sorry for the long intro, just felt I had to explain myself here. And I'll see you at the end of the video. Hey guys, I've got something new for you today, as I'm sure you just heard intro recording me tell you, but I'm here again to tell you that LolFactions has asked me to shoutcast a few of their matches for them, both live and here on my channel, so I'm going to be doing some live match shoutcasts later on. I will certainly be throwing out some links on here and sending them around so that people can go watch that if they want to, but for those of you who don't know, LolFactions is a group which does lore-based matches. They have factions from the lore team up and face off against each other. As you can see, I have a spiffy new overlay, which one of their organizers provided for me. Very nice of her. And up on the top right there, we see the emblem for Bilgewater, and on the top left, we see the emblem for the Shadow Isles. Bilgewater and the Shadow Isles facing off against each other in this match. To be perfectly honest, I don't know exactly the storyline behind this particular match, but the factions are Bilgewater on purple team and the Shadow Isles on the blue team. The Shadow Isles being represented here by Hecarim in the top lane, Evelyn in the jungle, Fiddlesticks as support, Karthus in the middle lane, and a Thresh AD carry, which are not the meta picks that you would probably see in a high-level solo queue game, but they certainly are very evil. And for the most part, very undead as well. Actually, I believe entirely very undead. Though perhaps Evelyn, looking at her lore earlier, I saw that Evelyn is believed to be some kind of strange vampire-human hybrid, and I guess probably she's undead. Most likely she's undead, but it's all shrouded in mystery, much like the champion herself. Now, representing Bilgewater, we have, of course, Gangplank in the top lane, who better than the Pirate King himself to represent Bilgewater up out of the top lane. We have Fizz in the middle lane, the playful trickster. Sorry, that's Fizz in the jungle, actually. You see him starting off there at his blue buff. That's a typical start for a jungle Fizz. And he uses up a lot of mana in the jungle, so it's very good for him to start off with the blue buff so that he can make his clear more effectively and more quickly. Katarina getting harassed there a little bit by the Karthus in the middle lane. Some nice Q's coming out from Karthus. I was about to say Skittles, but they changed his art, and they're not Skittles anymore. They're giant blue balls of death. And down in the bottom lane, for purple team, we have Graves, a outlaw who's decided to team up with the pirates for this particular match. His heart is really set on their outlaw ways, I suppose. And Nami, who is a fish, so has kind of obvious ties to the port city of Bilgewater, being, you know, a fish. Or I suppose half fish, half human. I don't want to be racist here. And in the middle lane is Katarina, the mercenary ever for hire, as long as you have enough gold and enough killing to be done. Anyways, let's get into the matchups in terms of gameplay, rather than in terms of simple lore. Down in the bottom lane, it is a Thresh AD carry, which I particularly enjoy, though he has seen some nerfs as of late with the extra delay on his passive from Flay, adding up. Nice hook there, not quite connecting though onto the Nami, flying a little bit wide to the right. Not really able to land the fish on that particular hook, but hopefully later you can land a hook or two. And up in top lane, we see the top lane Hecarim and Gangplank dueling it out. Evelyn showing up to help out her friendly Hecarim, but not going to be able to add enough to that gank. She doesn't have any CC beating Evelyn. Now Fizz has shown up. It's in a one-on-one duel with the Evelyn. The Evelyn forced to flash away from the second block playful trickster, but Fizz also has flash and is able to flash forward and keep up enough of a damage output to pick up the first blood for himself and refresh his double buffs. He's certainly got to be happy about that. Nice hook landing from the fresh blue buffs. Right back. B. Graves, who gets instantly feared by the Fiddlesticks. Nice CC combo there, but they still don't quite have enough damage to take down the Outlaw, who doesn't have that passive of True Grit, allowing himself to tank through the damage. Enough to survive at least, even though he did go down quite low. But he didn't panic, didn't use any summoners, so good on him for not casting any panic abilities there, knowing he'd have the ability to tank through that damage and survive up and keep on going down in this bottom lane. Anyways, I was speaking about the bottom lane earlier, and specifically I was speaking about Thresh AD Carry. A champion and a build that I really like myself, though I'm personally a fan of Thresh in general. Nice hook landing on the there. He does bait the fish this time, landing the hook on her. Good bubble coming out in return, though. Thresh is going quite low, forced to blow his heal as he gets exhausted. We swap over to the mid lane, though, where Karthus, low on mana, is trying to take out the Fizz and Katarina. Both of them go down quite low as Evelyn shows up to add some of her own damage, but neither one is going to fall here. No one fell in bottom lane either, so that's just a lot of near kills happening all over the map. Thresh is down quite low on health. Anyways, Thresh AD Carry, which I've been attempting to talk about this whole time, has some of the highest instant burst of AD carries in the game because of the way his E works. It scales as he waits on it. If he waits out the full duration and hits, I don't think they have names for the different scaling, I think it's just color-based, so if he hits the red section of the scaling on his Flay passive, then I believe it's 200% scaling off of his AD, as well as scaling off of how many souls he's collected, so he can do quite a burst of damage with that first auto attack. The downsides, however, are that his auto attacks thereafter are simply auto attacks. If he waits a little bit, then they have a slight amount of scaling, but not like they used to have, where the blue scaling instantly refreshed, so even his auto attacks after the first one at least had some scaling from the Flay passive. They don't anymore ever since a recent nerf. I believe that was in patch 4.13, though don't quote me on that, because that's a rather silly thing to quote someone on. I don't see when you would use that quotation, but if you ever do, don't use mine. And so his persistent damage output certainly got hurt in that nerf. And he also has no AD scaling abilities. Hecarim just managing. He's barely missing that cannon minion there. I always hate when that happens. When you stutter the auto attack, you mess up your damage, and you just miss the cannon minion. That really sucks in lane. As we see, Fizz has found Evelyn in the jungle and forces her away from the Wraith camp. She's actually gone for a blue pot early on into the game, going for that early damage, trying to make things happen across the map, but she simply got out-positioned by the enemy jungle in the form of that Fizz counter gank up in the top lane, and so hasn't been able to make good enough use of that blue pot to really justify its purchase, I think. So she's going to be a little bit behind in terms of gold. Sorry, just switching around where the people were on the scoreboard to better match up their positions. As we see up in the top lane, Katarina has roamed from mid up for a game, going after this Hecarim. Drops the Ignite as well, but I don't think they want to go into the tower. Hecarim very quick, able to escape back to his tower in time, and that is Katarina's Ignite down as well. Some time spent up in the top lane for nothing. Thresh, though, going down quite low, gets hit by a nice bubble by Nami there, and chased backwards, taking some burst from the Graves as well. As Fizz, the jungler, has now come down towards bottom lane, but Karthus and Evelyn were hot on his tail, so he doesn't really want to start off a gank there when he would have the numbers disadvantage for his side. So that's just going to be a walk by, and no one's going to actually go after that gank, because Evelyn's going quite low. She's standing right next to a ward. Katarina's going to flash over the wall, then Shunpo onto her for that last little bit of health. She goes down while taking her red buff. Started off at 2 low health, and didn't realize she was sitting right on top of a ward, so Katarina gets the easiest kill of her life there, just pressing 2 buttons, I suppose. She did press D and then, or F, well, I like flash on D for deflash, and flashing over the wall and then just shun-poing directly onto her and getting a free kill. That certainly gotta hurt. Out of the bottom lane now, even though the camera's focusing down there, I'd like to talk about some of the other matchups. In mid lane, we have Katarina versus Karthus, which I actually like to place towards the Karthus. He has the range advantage in lane, and since he took Exhaust as a summoner spell, it's going to be very hard for the Katarina to actually assassinate without taking so much damage herself that she can go down immediately after, or maybe even before she could get the kill. As now we see up in the top lane, a small duel going on before the Gangplank and Hecarim. Hecarim top lane being off pick as well. So many odd picks here, I haven't time to talk about it. Meanwhile, Fiddle is getting bubble up, but Thresh turns around and throws out a hook immediately onto the Nami, pulls her back towards the tower, and then flays her underneath it with his E, and she goes down, giving the AD carry Thresh his first kill of the game. He is now 1-0 to the enemy Graves' 0-0. However, the enemy Graves is at least 10 creep score up on him, so that is approximate, a little bit more than 10. So that's approximately the same amount of gold that they both have at this point in the game. So that really just brings Thresh even with the enemy carry. Nice quick draw there from the Graves, going to be dodging out the death sentence from Thresh, as Karthus is just going to be using Defile to push out the lane after the Katarina pushes it in towards him with bouncing blades. Anyways, out of the top lane, the Hecarim top is certainly something I've never seen before, and I'm really interested to see what he builds out of the top lane matchup, because Hecarim in the jungle really will build a few damage items and then some tankiness, but he's gone with the Chain Vest already to counter perhaps the constant harass from Gangplank's parlays, and so he might be looking to build more tankiness early, or perhaps he just wants to get that Chain Vest now and then go into damage to try and survive the lane a bit better. I'm not sure. I've never seen the champion take into that lane, so as the game goes on, I'll keep an eye on that and be curious to see where he goes with his build in this particular game. Anyways, a little bit of a moment of quiet here, so I'd just like to take a look down at the builds as I was talking about that earlier with the Hecarim, but look at some of the other builds as well. Looks like Fizz has gone for a Spirit of the Spectral Wraith out of the jungle. I have seen Fizz's build Elder Lizard as well, just to really pile on the damage over time effects with Seastone Tridents as well as the true damage from Elder Lizard. But we see a gank here coming out of the Evelyn. Nice exhaust coming out from the Karthus, and Evelyn, the Katarina doesn't even try to escape. Fizz shows up for the counter gank. He's a bit late though, his Katarina's already gone down, and his ulti, Chum the Waters, gets body blocked by the Evelyn, as up in top lane, Gangplank and Hecarim are dueling it out. It's battle of the tanks, though, neither one of them having the damage to really bring the other one down by any significant degree. They both go down to around half health. The Gangplank did have a bit over half health, and the Hecarim a bit under, so I suppose Hecarim certainly came out behind in that matchup, in that particular duel, but he's been pushing in onto the Hecarim this whole time. He does have good wave clear with his Q, the spam ability of that area of effect damage, able to push the lane out much more quickly than Gangplank can, who really only has effective single target damage. Here, Fizz has shown up in top lane, slowing down the Hecarim, who uses his ulti to escape. That is Hecarim's ulti burned for Gangplank's ulti. They just trade ults, the top laners up there in that gank, and nothing else of note comes down. It is a 2-2 kill score on the board, and a exactly even gold total. Well, I'm sure there's like 50 gold going over to one team or the other, going to be proving me wrong. Hook barely missing there from Thresh, but yeah, neither team has any sort of significant lead here at 12 minutes into the match. So this is really an even game so far. And, well, both team counts are fairly odd and fairly strange as far as the actual meta goes, though they certainly do fit their factions. And I don't know what to call. I don't know which team has the better late game. I suppose Karthus has quite a nice late game, however, so does Katarina for team fights, as well as Fizz for picking people off. As we see a gank going on by Evelyn and Fizz in the lane. Fizz turning around and throwing out Chum the Waters onto Evelyn, and Katarina comes in with the ulti as well, dealing tons of damage onto that Evelyn. Karthus, though, going to be doing a bunch of damage back onto her, casting the Requiem while in death. Nice Shunpo from Katarina. They're going to be preventing some of the damage and saving her life. Shunpo, by the way, does prevent damage after it's cast for a short time. I believe it's a second, perhaps 2 seconds after casting Shunpo. Katarina has just a flat percentage damage reduction, so she managed to survive the Requiem via nice use of Shunpo. Tidal is coming out from Nami, forcing the Thresh's flash, but he flashes into the path of it anyways. He's going down quite low now. He drops the box as well as exhaust to try and save his own life, and he does manage to escape his life, but that was a lot of cooldowns burned just to escape from that very nice tidal wave coming out from the Nami support on purple team. Now they're going to be pushing in onto this tower, both of them auto-attacking it, bringing it down. It's already at about half health, and they might be going for the dive here. Possibly. The Fiddlesticks finds out the Nami going after his pink ward, fears her, but not really much going to be able to follow up on that, since Thresh is so very low on health here, and Graves is certainly not. Fiddlesticks now forced to burn his flash as the enemy bot lane catches him out of position. Thankfully, he doesn't go down, but that is another summoner burned. I believe bot lane doesn't have any more left. And that's certainly going to leave them very open to these Fizz ganks, as Fizz is actually invading in on the enemy's red buff. However, he is sitting right atop a ward. Thresh throws out a nice hook onto him, tries to play him back, he's in playful trickster, and so he manages to dodge out the play using that. Katarina has shown up, but perhaps didn't realize how many members of the enemy team there were. She goes down nearly instantly. Fiddle actually picking up that kill with the Dark Wind right there at the end, snagging that kill for himself, as now Evelyn is dancing back and forth against the Fizz. However, Purple Team has only 3 members, the enemy team's 4, so I don't really know if they want to actually take this engage here. And both teams are simply going to back off. Blue Team fairly low in health, and Purple Team outnumbered, so neither one wanting to go after this dragon or after this team fight. Evelyn, though, still near the bot lane, sitting in the tribe room. There's a ward there, but it's a green ward and not a pink one, so didn't spot her. And she's going to be going over to her golems and finishing that up while we see Fizz taking the blue buff for himself. Katarina, being a manaless champion, doesn't really benefit as much from the blue buff as the Fizz does coming out of that jungle. Fizz is a fairly mana-hungry champion, and certainly can do a lot when given a blue buff. So I imagine that he's going to be picking up the majority of the blue buffs this game, and probably not going to be giving many of them, if any at all, over to the Katarina, which is perfectly fine. Sometimes it's nice to have the jungler pick them up instead of the mid lane. The Hecarim, speaking of his build earlier and saying how I'd like to go back and talk about it, I think I'll do that now. Well, I'll do it later, actually, as Katarina going in onto the Karthus with the ulti, Fizz flashing over the tower to chase after him. He did have the DFG status effect still on him, so he went down very quickly to that magic damage from Fizz. However, he was too far under the tower, and Evelyn was around, as well as Karthus still in his death passage. So Karthus picks up the shutdown there, as the Thresh is just deleted by collateral damage thrown out there from the Graves, as well as a tidal wave coming across him. Surfs up, and he takes a bullet to the back of the head at the same time. That's gotta hurt. He goes down. Graves picking up another kill for, actually the first kill of the match for himself, I tell a lie, as well as a turret. That is the first turret, though, so I suppose that's the first thing I was talking about. And that is a gold lead now for Purple Team. A few minutes ago, the game was entirely even, but now it's about 2,000 gold in favor of Bilgewater, who have taken the lead for themselves and may just be able to bring it all into port here. Joke there. As we see Graves flash over the wall to try and escape this Evelyn gang. The Evelyn flashes after him, though. Hate spikes flying out. Great gangplank only coming out from top lane to try and stop the Evelyn from killing him, as Requiem comes out from Karthus. All the globals being used in this gank. However, Graves still had heal up, and the heal allows him to save his life from Requiem. Katarina has roamed down and instantly deletes the Evelyn. Med Turtle going down to Happy as she roamed down out of middle lane. And after all that action, only one person goes down, and it goes down to Purple Team, despite them having the man disadvantage there the entire time. Nice use of the global ultimate from not Graves' Gangplank, and that really saved Graves' bacon, as well as the well-timed heal that he did to survive through the Requiem damage. Karthus a little bit caught out by the Fizz on the wrong side of the brush there on the minimap, as the Fiddle is going to be throwing out Dark Wind, just pushing up the wave a little bit. Karthus managed to escape from the Fizz with some tricky maneuvering, and Fizz is going to go back to clearing the waves as we swap up to the top lane, where not much action has been happening in this game. Gangplank, I don't want to call him Graves, I have no idea why, I apologize. The Gangplank did just pick himself up in assist as Katarina got that kill down as he used his ulti. Speaking of Katarina, she shun post out of the wall from Karthus, managing to avoid a bunch of pain that would have come out from those defiles while she was slowed. And by the way, Karthus' wall does also reduce magic resist on any enemies that walk through it. So not only does it slow you and make you easier to hit with defiles, it makes the defiles do more damage. So it's very, very bad to walk through Karthus' wall if you can avoid walking through it. It really, really is a painful thing to do. As Evelyn now caught out by Fizz in her jungle, slowed down by the red buff and by the second proc of Playful Trickster. Fizz gets exhausted, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point, as Kundar does pick up the kill onto Med Turtle. However, he's being chased out by Karthus. Another defile, nice try. Fizz nearly sidesteps it, but goes down to the very edge of the explosion. Happy managing to pick up Fiddlesticks off the screen there while that duel was going on. The last few ticks of Ignite going through the shield from the lantern that Thresh tried to throw out to save Fiddle's life, but it wasn't quite enough of a shield, and Fiddle still goes down, giving another kill over to Katarina, who is forward to it and has finished off her death by her grasp. Karthus now caught out, gets hit by the tidal wave, and Gangplank ulti slows all around. He does go down in the end. Katarina goes down quite low, but the Shunpo going to help her survive through that turret shot with the damage reduction that I mentioned earlier coming out again. And so Happy's going to be able to escape and head back to base here, picking up another kill for herself, going 5-2 so far at 19 minutes or so into this match, where Purple Team has accrued a 3,000 gold lead and a 5-kill lead, as well as the only turret on the board. Evelyn taking a red buff again, this time thankfully not diminutively low on health and sitting next to a ward, so she doesn't go down before trying to do it. Still makes me laugh thinking about it. That was just the perfect situation for Katarina. Easiest kill she could get, as we see Thresh showing how much damage that first auto attack can do on AD Thresh. Just chunked Graves for about a quarter of his health with one whip of that chain, doing quite a bit of damage. And he's not even completed an item yet, so once he gets, looks like he's going for an Infinity Edge, once he gets that completed, as well as maybe a Last, actually Last Whisper wouldn't probably be the best build to pick up. Since his E-Passive Flame, the scaling is magic damage, actually, so Armor Pen doesn't work all that great on AD Thresh, since where most of your damage is coming from is actually magic. And I've considered building AD Thresh with Sorcerer's Shoes, specifically for that reason, so that you do a ton, sort of like the Corkin Sorcerer's Shoes build, because he does so much base damage, it would make him even harder to itemize against. And because a lot of his damage is in that upfront single auto attack burst, he doesn't need a ton of attack speed. So the Berserker's Greaves are helpful, but I don't think they'd actually be as helpful as the Sorcerer's Shoes, which would be more in line with the strengths he already has. Katarina getting slowed up by that wall there, trying to flash after the Karthus. Didn't quite get in range, though, wasn't able to finalize that kill, as now Blue Team has assembled some of their members in this jungle. Purple Team is 4 men strong, but sitting on a ward. They're shown up here. Karthus going to be throwing out the Defile. Hook barely missing on Graves there from the threat. He walks around the corner into his death, goes down to the ulti from Fizz. Fiddlesticks ults over the wall, doesn't really hit on anybody, though. They all flash away or Shunpo out of the way just in time, as Hecarim has ulted, and not ulted, has teleported down out of the top lane, ults into the middle of the fray. Nice bubble from Nami, gonna stop him from chasing that Fizz. Evelyn, though, coming around the corner, might be able to get this. Playful Trickster instantly kills her, though, as he lands off of that staff. Fizz now on a killing spree, being chased still by the Hecarim. Does turn around with another Playful Trickster. Requiem coming out, though, and Playful Trickster is down, so he's gonna go down to that damage. Bubble landing on the Hecarim again to stop him from chasing out the Nami as well, who does manage to escape after trying to save the Fizz, but Requiem was just too strong right then. He didn't have his on-targetability to be able to dodge it. So Fizz goes down, giving the shutdown gold over to the Karthus, who's certainly going to be happy with that gold. He's 4-3 at this point and just going to continue to scale up, especially now that he's completed his Rod of Ages, which will continue to slowly roll with more and more power as the game goes on. Turns out we have a bit of a lonely action here, so I'd like to go into the builds again, if I may. Looks like Hecarim is indeed going for that full tank build that I thought he might go for, but I didn't call it again since I've never seen Hecarim top before, so I wasn't quite experienced in the matchup, as Hecarim going to be charging in onto the Gangplank, trying to chase after him. Gangplank using his E, though, going to be raising his morale and running away, throwing back a Q onto Hecarim, gets the speed buff from Trinity Force, as well as using his passive to slow down Hecarim, so he's speeding out of there. Quick Pirate gets away, and Quick Pirate is a living pirate. Nami getting hooked by the Thresh, doesn't take very much damage. The Thresh not doing all that much damage to her, actually, as Graves now chasing in onto the Thresh, and Fiddle, the heal being burned by the Thresh. He gets hit by another nice bubble from the Nami. Graves gets feared, though. Can he finish off this kill? Sniped with collateral damage over the wall, takes that kill for himself. In the middle lane, Karthus and Katarina are fighting it out. Karthus getting that kill, going down quite low, but still had a lot of health build up from the Rod of Ages, as well as the shield from fully stacked Seraph's Embrace at this point. So he had a lot of tankiness under his belt, was able to survive the initial burst from Katarina and take her down with repeated Defiles while she was sitting in his area of effect, damage effect from the E. And I can finally go back to top lane, which I was just talking about before I was interrupted by action everywhere. Purple Team starting off the Dragon here. And I might be interrupted again as Evelyn is creeping near the Dragon Pit. Is she going to go for anything here? I don't really know if she wants to. She's pinging for assistance, but no one on her team is close enough by to help out. Karthus, perhaps, who's coming near to the Dragon Pit now. The Dragon is quite low. Fizz going to smite that out and get it for himself. Karthus throws the wall over just for some vision. Evelyn now using Agony's Embrace to intimidate the team, but she goes down very quickly. That shield not proving to be enough mitigation for her to survive. Graves trying to go after Karthus, but he does have Flash and manages to escape. Thresh now in a 1v1 duel with this Graves. I don't know who's going to win this one. The Graves does have more burst. burst and is able to take him out as Katarina showed up, tried to get the assist, but wasn't quite there in time. And now Graves is on a rampage. Fiddlesticks might be in trouble, does turn around and fear the Katarina away though, so she isn't going to be thinking about any tower dives at this point. And that is a kill going over the purple team, as well as a dragon, extending their gold lead out to nearly 7,000. Actually, pretty much exactly 7,000 here, with a 2-turret lead, a dragon pickup, and many kills above the enemy team. 9 to be exact. Swapping back to top lane, which I was talking about earlier, the Hecarim has chosen to go for a full tankiness build, building lots of armor to combat the high damage build, which Gangplank has gone with. He's got a Trinity Force, as well as an Avarice Blade, which he's probably going to be turning into a Static Shiv later on. Very good. Graves. Why do I keep calling Gangplank Graves? Static Shiv's a decent Graves item too, by the way. The extra burst really fits in with his sort of theme as a burst AD carry from that magic damage, and the attack speed means that his dash will be up more often since his dash quick draw is set so auto attack gets off. However, the Katarina's caught out trying to kill him. The pink ward, the Hecarim nearly goes down to another shot from Gangplank ulti, but the RNGesus is not with Gangplank here. However, he does have RNGesus on his side facing off against this Fiddlesticks. The crits are strong today, and the Fiddlesticks goes down very quickly to Graves. Gangplank, who has built a very high damage build, now in a 1v1 with the very low health Carthus. He does go down, but now he's in his death passive and he's casting Requiem. Gangplank comes down to the Requiem, Nami nearly going down. Another final defile going to bring her quite low, as now she's going to one-on-one duel with the Evelyn. Evelyn activating Bilgewater Cutlass as an opener, and then following in with Hate Spikes and a few auto attacks as a closer. Going to finish off that duel, giving herself the kill on Nami and picking up some more gold into her pockets. 2 and 7, she really needed that. She's been sort of behind this whole game, and she's building damage too out of the Evelyn jungle, so she really needs to pick up some gold to pick it up in this game. Going after the red buff, she's low on health, she's really more, so maybe we'll see a repeat, but she takes it down a lot quicker now that she has a few items under her belt, so Katarina's not going to be able to pick her up that time. And I can finally return to the top lane where Gangplank, not Graves, but Gangplank, has finished off his Static Shiv. So I was indeed correct, my crystal ball is working, and he has finished off the Static Shiv for himself as well as Trinity Force, both fairly common items on Gangplank. Katarina trying to go after the Evelyn in the jungle here gets silenced by the Fiddlesticks, slowed and feared. Lots of CC, discouraging her from keeping on that chase. And now it looks like Purple Team going to be pushing up onto the inner turret down in bottom lane. Bilgewater going after this second turret down in bottom lane to try and take it away from the grasp of the Shadow Isles. Return it to slightly less evil control. You know, I'm really not sure who I should be rooting for in this matchup. We've got undead monstrosities and evil pirates. I don't know who I want to win. I guess neither of them? Can we just have a stalemate? Can we just have no one win? That would be ideal. Then, like, we wouldn't have evil people winning in League of Legends. But it is 4 men strong for blue team down here in bottom lane, where Happy face checks into a bush that had 4 members in it. Happy, no! And she goes down really quickly. Thresh picking up that kill, getting another kill onto the AD carry. Thresh, who has finished off his Infinity Edge at this point, as well as picked up an early set of home guards, looking to defend his base very quickly here. This is fairly early in the game to pick up some home guards, but he really wants to be able to ensure that no more towers fall down on that bottom lane. As blue team now going for a tower dive onto this Graves. Nami though is here, as well as Fizz to slow up their roll. The Carthus getting exhausted when the tower goes down in the end to an auto attack from Graves, as now Nami is chasing after the rest of the enemy team, but they have managed to escape for now. However, up in top lane, an inner turret goes down to the Gangplank, but then throws his ult down to bottom. The Fiddlesticks forced to flash away to the other side of the cannonballs, throws out the Spell Thief's Edge towards the Fizz to slow him down a little bit, but it's not going to be enough as Fizz shows up with the dash forward on his Q and an Urchin Strike from his... Urchin Strike is the Q, Seastone Trident is the W, but Urchin Strike first and then following it up with Seastone Trident to finish off the kill onto the Fiddlesticks, and then turning around for the easy pickup on Thresh, getting another 2 kills onto that Fizz jungle, who's going 10 and 4, really doing a lot for his team here. Katarina flashing forward after using the DFG and knife toss onto the Evelyn. Going to be Shunpoing out of there after picking up that kill. Very easy pickup there. Did have to burn Flash to get it, but nothing really complicated about that combo since Evelyn's kind of behind right now and fairly squishy and doesn't have any way to interrupt Katarina's ulti or to dodge away from the Shunpo, so she's really, really easy pickings for this fairly fed enemy. Katarina coming out of the mid lane already has a Death Cap and a Deathfire Grasp and has gone for Boots of Mobility, actually, which I can certainly see the merit to. She's doing very well out of the mid lane and wants to try and spread that to the rest of the map and has gone with highly mobile pick up there as Gangplank turns the corner and with one auto attack picks up the blue buff, but I don't think he's going to keep wearing it for very long. Carthage getting the blue buff in the end after taking out the Gangplank, who went into a 1v2 there near the top lane. And speaking of 1v2s, Thresh and Fiddle found one for themselves against the Graves, and it looks like Blue Team is starting to pull some more traction into this game, getting 2 picks in a row, both in top and in bottom lane across the map. Anyways, the Boots 5 pickup that I was talking about with Katarina, since she's such a high damage threat on the enemy team here, as we might actually see an example of. She's going after the Karthus, Shunpoing forward, throwing out the knife, not the usual method of the combo, and here we see why as she's starting to go down, and does go down. Evelyn picking up that kill, Med Turtle taking down Happy and getting another kill onto the board for himself. 3, 8, and 7 now on the Evelyn. Hopefully can get a few more kills, some more farm, because he really needs to keep scaling up and get some more tankiness into his build so he can survive these face-on engages. Thresh landed a good hook onto Fizz in the jungler. He goes down very quickly. Finished off by Med Turtle, getting another kill for himself. Luna starting to scale back into this game. Gets bubbled up, though, by Nami, who speed buffs herself away with Tycaller's Blessing and then throws back the slow off of the Spellthief's edge. Graves now coming in with the smoke screen to slow up the enemy's chase as well. And that is going to be Nami escaping. However, Fizz did go down, and now Blue Team is taking the fact that the enemy jungle is dead as license to start up this dragon, and it really looks like they'll only be able to get it. They already have it down to half health. The Thresh auto is doing quite a bit since he did build AD coming out of that bottom lane. The smite coming out from Evelyn finished off the dragon there, as now Nami is in trouble being chased out by the Karthus. Lands a nice bubble to try and save her life. She manages to escape for now. However, 5 members of the Blue Team are around the corner here. Good ulti coming out from Gangplank and Graves. Collateral damage nearly taking out Evelyn, flashing out of the Gangplank. Ulti, however, goes down to Katarina coming around the court, as now Hecarim is diving under the tower onto Graves, as Katarina goes in and gets the double, gets the triple. The resets coming out there, and she shunpos away, and can she survive the Requiem? She can! Karthus does not get the revenge kill, while all the while, this pirate has been pushing top lane with the Trinity Force and Static Shiv, going for a full damage build. Already picks up a pickaxe as well. Looks like he's going for an Infinity Edge with the pickaxe and the Agility Cloak. Takes the inhibitor turret out of top lane, and Purple Team won the unlikely fight down the bottom lane. Really nice ulti coming out from the pirate and from the outlaw. And that's going to be Bilgewater picking up another turret as well as 3, 4 more kills. I believe it was 4 overall, possibly 3, but certainly a lead, and they're going to bring themselves back into the gold lead by 7,000 once more, as Fizz has found Hecarim, who's very tanky though, and Fizz's full combo barely even brings him down to 2/3 health, as now Fizz is in trouble, tries to Playful Trickster over the wall, but doesn't quite make it. He goes quite low, but Hecarim, seeing Katarina on her way, does not want to keep chasing. However, Thresh has thrown up, throws out the hook, but it doesn't quite hit onto Happy. Happy goes into the Death Lotus, but it's not going to be enough damage before she gets interrupted by the Flay and then shut down by that hefty auto attack from Thresh, getting the double buffs and the shutdown goal over onto that AD carry Thresh. Hook coming out from Thresh again onto Gangplank. Gangplank goes down very low to that auto attack, but he turns around and auto attacks himself. Those crits are coming out strong for him today. Nearly brings down the Fiddlesticks, does bring down the Fiddlesticks, and the final parlay goes down in the end to Karthus, who has shown up to help his team out. Nami not really going to escape. Perhaps she can escape here, actually. Flashes forwards and throws out the Spellthief's Edge, or Frost Queen's Claim, rather, to slow down the 2 enemies, and then bubbles up the Karthus and gets around to the Tribush. Evelyn has shown up here against the Graves. Does she have the damage? She does actually have the damage, as well as the tankiness to survive is, and takes out that kill in a 1v1. Certainly has come back into this game, certainly has come back into her own. Going for the Randwind's Omen now, had the tankiness to be able to survive in that duel, as well as the damage from the Blade and the Elder Lizard, as well as the repeated hate spikes. Able to finish off that Graves down in the bottom lane and stop the Purple Team from trying to get a split push off, while most of the action was happening from the other side. Whew, thank God for this small moment of respite here, because my throat is starting to get dry, and I did not think ahead, and I do not have a large glass of water here, as I usually do this time. It's been a hectic few days. I've been in and out of my place, and it's just been difficult to get some time to actually sit down and test it out. I finally do. I find that I don't have everything I need, as Happy gonna be going in onto Thresh, who got bubbled up by the Nami in the enemy jungle there, and taken out instantly. AD carry Thresh is not tanky, as Thresh usually is. He does get the armor passive from his soul, which actually helps a good amount in lane and makes him somewhat makes up for his shorter range, certainly how the Graves passive does as well. The passes are very similar. They're actually fairly similar champions in terms of AD carry role. They have high burst, low range, and good dueling potential. However, Graves has more damage, whereas Thresh has more CC. Harvest now going after Nami and the rest of her team, going to be forcing out the Nami ulti, just has a disengage there. Throwing out some Defiles, trying to land some damage, does hit Katarina with 1 or 2, then brings her down low. But this whole time, while Blue were dancing over there, the Gangplank has been still pushing up the top lane. It's on the inhibitor, gets chased away by too many of the team, but seems to have the numbers advantage for the Gangplank to get disengagement here. However, Requiem is coming out of Carthage and does so much damage, it brings out the Katarina and the Nami triple kill now onto Fizz, as Fiddlesticks picks up the Graves with Crowstorm, leaping across the wall there and doing tons of damage to the enemy team. Whew, triple kill for Karthus, kill for Fiddlesticks, and Gangplank was chased away from the inhibitor before he could bring it down, so that is blue team coming up big all across the map here. The Shadow Isles really showing their true colors. Their true colors are death and darkness and despair. And apparently middle turrets. They can take out secondary middle turrets as well as a turret down in the bottom lane. The minion's going to be doing some work down there. I wonder if the minions are aware that they're working for forces of evil and undead here, or perhaps for the alternative, purple team, aware that they're working with pirate mercenaries to for glory and plunder, I suppose. As we see blue team, the Shadow Isles, going to be starting off a fight with Baron Nashor, but it's going quite low. Thankfully, he walks away before the Baron Nashor finishes off with Arthas as well as everyone spamming out their Qs. The Baron goes down very quickly, and now Gangplank is in trouble being chased by the enemy team. Gets slowed up in the random element from the Evelyn. Nami only barely hitting anybody, but Katarina has shown up, gets the double kill, slowed up by the Thresh's box. Can she continue to chase? Gets the kill onto Carter as well as a triple kill. It's a quadra kill onto Thresh. Katarina really coming in and being a janitor, cleaning up the team fight there for her team, and really showing up big for the Pirates. Good idea for them, hiring that mercenary, and going to be going in and getting that quadra kill for herself. And the enemy team can pick up Baron, so they can at least console themselves with that, but I don't know how worth it is for them. Giving a quadra kill over to an already fairly powerful Katarina, just going to be catapulting her into virtual heavy carry levels, hyper carry levels. I don't quite know where I was going with that sentence when I started it, but where I ended it was decent, as now Katarina is going to be going in onto the Fiddlesticks. The bubble from Nami not quite landing, as Katarina Zonia's at the last second to survive the auto attack from the tower that would have killed her, and Fiddlesticks flashes away, and Katarina flashes away, and nobody goes down. So Katarina doesn't get the unofficial penta, sadly, but she does manage to survive, and Nami going to be being the hero and taking out this turret, but she doesn't manage to finish it off, and the minions aren't strong enough to either. Completely avoids the Agony's Embrace from Evelyn there. A bit of a whiff on her part, as now the Frost Queen's Claim is thrown out from the tail end of that fish to slow up the Evelyn from chasing, as up in top lane, Hecarim is around to scare away the Gangplank from continuing to push. Hecarim, having gone for a full tank build here, is very well taken, and is very difficult for the Gangplank to even damage. One parlay does like just a minuscule portion of Hecarim's health, whereas a parlay onto, say, the Fiddlesticks or Thresh does a quarter to a third of their health. So Hecarim really much tankier than his teammates here, and he's going to be having to hold up the front line. As we see purple team lengthening their gold lead by taking down the dragon from themselves, and a turret in the middle lane. Happy showing up there to finish off the job, but Nami couldn't quite, as Evelyn going to be taking a bunch of damage. Flash shoots away over the wall to try and escape. However, Fizz is on that side, Evelyn, and he's going to go down in the end. The ulti from Gangplank as well, getting the assist for the pirate up in top lane with that slow. Nami now finding Thresh out of position perhaps, but maybe she's out of position as well as Hecarim and the Arthas come around the corner. She does manage to survive, flashing away and bubbling up both of them. However, Requiem's coming in, she doesn't have heal up to save herself. She's going to go down. Arthas finally getting that kill onto Nami with his Requiem, as now Gangplank has come out of the top lane, but so has Hecarim, and they're in a little bit of a duel, but as usual with their duels, it just ends with both of them leaving perfectly fine. Karthus is nearly going down to a single parlay there. Pops Ceros in the race to survive the last auto attack after Gangplank gets hooked in by the Thresh, and so Thresh manages to pick up a kill for himself, as now Fiddlesticks is coming around the corner at this Katarina. She's going to go down very quickly with these auto attacks from the AD Thresh. Static Shift plus an Infinity Edge doing quite a burst of damage, and that is a shutdown going over to Thresh. And the neat thing about AD Thresh is that the scaling for AD is limited in terms of items. You can only buy so much AD. However, the scaling on his Ether Souls is not limited. Much like a Nasus or a Scion with his scaling health, Thresh can scale infinitely, technically, into the late game by simply gathering more and more souls. Because while the armor has exponentially decreasing values in how much it gives you, the amount of armor that the first few souls you pick up give you is much higher than the amount of armor that the next few ones give you, and so on and so forth until they become virtually pointless in terms of armor and AP granted. However, the amount of damage they give you on your first auto attack with Flay does not act in that way mathematically. It simply stacks up 1 to 1, or whatever the ratio is at the current time with how much you've charged up your Flay passive. So if it's charged up fully, I believe it's 2 to 1, though I'd have to look it up to find the exact numbers. However, that means that in the late game, much like Nasus' Siphoning Strike, he can simply keep on getting more and more powerful, and that first auto attack is going to keep on getting more and more damaging. And because it's magic damage and not physical damage, it's very difficult to itemize against Thresh, because his auto attack itself is going to be doing a whole bunch of physical damage, because he's built AD carry. He has Infinity Edge, a Static Shiv, a Blade of the Ruined King. He's going to be doing a lot of physical damage with those auto attacks. However, the first auto attack will have a whole lot of bonus magic damage based off of both his AD and how many souls he's managed to pick up. So you have to build some armor, some magic resistance, and it makes it more difficult for the enemies to build to combat the damage. As we see how much damage Thresh can actually push out, landing an auto attack on the Graves, and about 50% with one auto. However, the Graves, not the Graves, the Gameplank turns around and goes out a crit parlay onto the Thresh, brings him down very quickly. Purpose has already gone down, and he's using Requiem while dead to take some of the health bars from the team with him. However, it's not going to be enough damage to bring anybody down, as now Graves picks up a double kill, and that teamfight comes out with Purple Team getting the ace and Blue Team getting just a few kills. The Katarina and Gangplank respectively going down. However, Purple Team still has 3 numbers up, and it looks like they're going to be going for this open inhibitor in top lane, which was left unguarded courtesy of Gangplank. Graves trying to dash over the wall there, not quite making it. That was a little bit too quick to quick draw over, I'm sorry. Too thick to quick draw over, I'm sorry, friend. But they are still going to be getting the inhibitor here, and possibly swapping over mid lane, where they have some minions to take out this inhibitor turret. The enemy team still doesn't respawn for Thresh is the earliest at 8 seconds from now, so they're going to be able to get this inhibitor turret, and possibly even 2 inhibitor. They do have all the damage coming out from Graves, as well as Lichbane procs from the Fizz to do a bunch of damage as well. That is 2 inhibitors going down, as well as an ace for Bilgewater. Whew, that's certainly gotta hurt for the Shadow Isles, who are on the back foot now, despite picking up that Baron earlier. They can get aced and then lose 2 inhibitors, the top and the middle lane. While Purple Team gonna back off and try and regroup, maybe go for the Baron once it's up. They do not actually have the timer up on the board. They've seen it, so they'll see the little icon respawn on the map. So hopefully someone is watching the map closely enough to notice that when it comes up in 25 seconds from now. While we have a bit of a moment of quiet, I'd like to take a moment and look at some of the builds. Gangplank has continued to go for a very heavy damage build, finishing off a Ravenous Hydra as well. Ravenous Hydra and Static Shiv, by the way, are very interesting items to build on Gangplank because Parlay procs on hit effects, which means that at a range, you can proc the Ravenous Hydra hook coming out from Thresh. On the Katarina, she immediately goes into Zonia's after getting slayed, goes in onto the Thresh immediately after leaving the Zonia's, gets the kill for herself. Hecarim has shown up from around the corner though, as well as Fiddlesticks. They both ult in onto the enemy team, taking out the Katarina. The Evelyn picking up that kill. Gangplank nearly going down, does in fact go down in the end. The Hecarim who roams from top getting that kill. Bubble not quite landing from Nami, however, Graves has shown up, maybe going to be able to save her life. She does Miles herself as well to restore some of her missing hit points. Nice Zonia's there from the card that's going to be avoiding the Fizz ult entirely, but it's not going to be enough despite being very well timed to avoid that ulti. The rest of Purple Team had enough damage to take him down even after he tried to flash away. And that is Purple Team coming out ahead in that one with a 4-for-2 trade. Again, losing Katarina and Gangplank, but the 3 members of their team that remains are still alive and are going to be pushing in onto this final inhibitor turret down in the bottom lane. Nami, Graves, and Fizz all here. The Hecarim charging forward, trying to clear out those minions as quickly as he can, but now he's surrounded by 3 members of the enemy team, gets bubbled up after popping, going down very quickly here, takes a lot of damage from the Fizz, he doesn't have much magic resistance, actually he does, he's a Spirit Visage and a Banshees, I tell a lie, but he still goes down, the Fizz doing enough damage to bring him down. Fizz was 13 and 7, and so certainly able to do damage there. Grace flashing forward for the final auto attack onto Thresh to get the ace, and the triple kill. Now they're on Inhibitor, they're on Nexus turrets rather, both Nexus turrets going down, and it looks like this will be a victory for Bilgewater. The Shadow Isles falling in this particular match, and I guess that's a good thing. I prefer Pirates over Undead, so congratulations Bilgewater, that's a victory under your belt. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel and liked what you saw, you should check out my other series, 100 Casts. You can find some links to those videos on screen or at my channel, which I'm sure you can find fairly easily. I believe in you. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Or, well, probably not tomorrow.